introduction. We are live.
All alive again. Must be Friday evening in Europe anyway. Earlier than that in America, somewhere afternoon in New York, maybe 10 a.m. or so in Los Angeles. And we are Mark, and this is Heidi hiding over here because she's busy doing something else. And we are coming to you from Paradiso Integrale in Umbria, in Italy, about an hour north of Rome. We have not moved. It's still about an hour north of Rome. And this evening, as we do each week, we try to engage people in some interesting conversation about some aspect of integral thought. And tonight we are perhaps able to continue with something that we started earlier on in another venue, talking about the Enneagram, because we have some people here who are quite interested. And by that I'm referring especially to Hans down there. Say hello, Hans.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello, Hans.
Is saying hello. And all right, there you saw him briefly. There he is, smiling. And we also have our old friend Scott Marshall with us, who is a great support, and he always laughs at my joke. So we keep inviting him back.
That's the only because I laugh.
Yeah. For the first time, I tried to transmit it, the whole session with a periscope, and I see it probably is a little bit dark. I don't know why it doesn't catch the screen.
We can't make it any brighter.
No, I tried to.
No.
It's not. So if you are listening with Periscope and you don't like the quality, go over to Google+, check out the Wisdom Factory, and there is the link to the event.
Now, they don't have to watch it on Periscope.
No, it's not.
They can go where?
To Google Plus or to YouTube,
Okay.
to the Wisdom Factory.
All right, the Wisdom Factory.
Okay.
I'm just repeating.
Good.
Well, that's the way
So I thought I have announced it as integral theory, all levels, lines, quadrants. What is missing?
Types.
Well,
I think it's like 5.
States.
Yes.
States. So I got the question, what is integral theory,
And
on the event page.
uh-huh.
So I think if we begin a little bit to talk about that, what is integral theory? So just what we have understood about it. It doesn't mean that we have to talk like Ken Wilber, the creator of integral theory, does, and he does it very nicely lately. Before, about 10 years ago, it was very, a little bit like academic talk.
Yeah, but that's what I learned.
Yes,
Sorry.
but now in the broadcast he did about 2 weeks ago, and people can still find it. We posted it also on the Wisdom Factory, the link for that. It was on live stream. He finds now words which people even who have no idea of it can understand quite well. So, and we try to use words too.
Oh, I always try to use big words to sound more important.
Yeah.
Only because his birthday today, I'm so tolerant with what you say.
Okay. Well,
Okay. Who wants to have a try?
oh, go ahead. Yeah, somebody's take a stab at that. Yeah.
Hans, I'll go first, and then you can talk about how integral theory is to you. Yeah. So, for me, I discovered integral theory on a corner of the internet back in 2007. And I saw a YouTube video of Ken Wilber. He was talking with something that sounded very complex and philosophical. And I said, boy, this guy is speaking something that's very intelligent and something that's very... something that's really important that I should listen to. But then I saw another video where he had rigged a thing up to his head and he could do all kinds of things with his brain waves. And I said, boy, there's really something going on with this guy. So I did looking more into it, and there's Margarita. Hi, Margarita.
Is that what happens when you look more into it?
And whoop. Anyway, what I like about integral theory is that it's a developmental model or a map of reality. And I found it and I continue to find it very helpful in understanding how worldviews evolve. So how people see the world and how that changes over time. And the best thing I love is the transcend and include. So as when you evolve, you transcend, but you include what came before it. And that
Hopefully.
yeah, in a good way. You include in a good way. Yeah. Okay.
So what did it do with your life to know that?
Well, it well, since I'm an artist, it informed my creation, my process of creation, because moment to moment, like going with Alfred North Whitehead and the novelty theory, when the moment contains all that came before it, the present moment contains all that came before it, and something new, something a little bit new, and that was very insightful for me and very inspiring. So that kind of gave me a view or a way of looking at my life from a perspective that allowed me to take on more perspectives. And so it's enhanced and evolved and incorporated so much more in my life than I could without that particular system or that map. And Ken, he does a great job of taking what Gene Gepser did, which is, looking at art, looking at how art over time has, the way people create art over time has kind of transformed, and how we see consciousness in the art, and for example, what Picasso did compared to what they did back in cave paintings and things like that. So, so that's a big, broad answer to the question, but the answer is that it's both complexified and simplified my life. Complexity in that I know more and I'm sensitive to more, and simplicity that it all makes more sense and actually feels that things fit, that there's a place for everything, and yeah.
So I want to acknowledge Laurel Ann. She is in the let me see, here she is. Oops, it went away. She said, integral theory is hard to explain in a short time. Yes, Wilber gave a different explanation last time. Laurel Ann, if you want to come into the green room, you should have got the link. Otherwise, tell me and I will post it again. Okay. So let's go over to Hans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you hear me well, actually?
Yes.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I got introduced to Ken Wilber in my late teens. I stumbled across that book, Grace and Grit, so that was my first exposure. And I remember I was so deeply moved by that book. I wasn't yet so much interested in the more theoretical parts that sneaked in there, but more on the personal level, and just this relationship between the two of them, and this beautiful bond. So I got curious about the guy, and I think the next thing I went over to read. Actually, I think it was Sex, Ecology, and Spirit.
Wow, you took
the difficult one.
And at first, I was a bit overwhelmed because I never considered myself to be a very analytical kind of type. But the more I got into it, I had all these aha moments already back then. I mean, there was so much written in there, and it just felt good, even on a physical level. Some of the, contradictions that were in my mind before, this sounds right too, which way should I go? There was just so much in it that I got more and more of a sense that there is all this room, and things can fit together. It doesn't have to be an either or it doesn't have to be battle, that there's patterns, and there's ways how things are interconnected, and yes, I got totally hooked. I after that, I basically read, I think, everything he wrote more or less over the years after that. Yeah, so I think that's now already maybe 18 years ago or so. And then last year I made that SHGOS course. I think Mark did the second installation after me, and I was in the first round, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that made it even more plastic, kind of like 3D. I don't know, especially to get the chance to talk to other people about it. Up to that point, most of the time, all this was happening in my own mind. So it was such a beautiful experience to be able to connect to other integrally informed people and also get some correction here and there and inspire each other. And I really noticed ever since it's become much more alive. I didn't realize before how important it was to communicate about these things to like-minded people. It's really quite something.
Yeah, great. So thank you. You name the course Your Superhuman Potential.
Oh, operating system.
Operating system. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have here on top, here I think, a link. And this, when you click on it, it leads you to a 1 hour broadcast of Ken Wilber, because he is representing the same course that we are talking about, where Hans took the first round and we took the second round, and it is the possibility to do it again. And this link will give you the access first to the presentation of Ken Wilber. He gives an overview of what he will be doing in the course, and it's really worthwhile.
Definitely. I wanted to say...
And Margarita says she cannot read the link on the top. Margarita, we come to you immediately. It means it is called, or how do you say, bit.ly, and then it should be 1 hour broadcast. bit.ly/1, the number, then hour, HOUR, and then broadcast, BROADCAST.
Yeah.
So bit.ly/1 hour broadcast, and this will lead you to the free broadcast next Tuesday.
Yes, it's on Tuesday.
27th of October 2015. And these things probably, as long as he is alive, will go on for a while. So if you don't make it this time to take the course, you will have hopefully another chance, because Ken Wilber is not so really healthy. No, it is described in Grace Grit, I think, Hans, that when he was with Terry on Lake Tahoe. Okay, there at the same time about 600 people were getting a very strange illness, and he is one of the very few survivors of this illness, but he is struggling a lot with it, and he was twice almost dead, and he is revived again, thanks to his ability in governing his own mind and being
body.
Mind and body, and so we don't know how long we still have him, but take the chance.
Yeah, it's a unique chance. It may not ever happen again.
So the link is bit.ly/1 hour broadcast. One in a number. Okay, now we go. I see there's Margarita. We go over to you. What does integral mean to you so far?
Well, I'm not an expert at all in being on a course with Ken Wilber. I really respect him and so on. But what I'm interested in is because I'm a math student from university, took 1 year of math in university. So I like to see the structure of things, and this integral theory is amazing to actually explain different parts of our humanity and how the consciousness evolve. And I've been always, all my life, interested in what consciousness is, how can you be more conscious, and what is the structure of the mind. So that's why I'm interested in this.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, good questions. Yeah, exactly.
And it is about the structure. No, what Ken Wilber says, his integral theory is what Scott already said. It is a map. A map not only of the mind, also of the development, social, psychological development, and also of the mind, of the states of consciousness, of the levels of consciousness. So it is including spirituality, as this is working with the states of consciousness.
Certainly.
Yeah? And it's working also with evolutionary psychology and many other science altogether, many other streams. And it's not by chance that it is called integral.
Meaning inclusive of everything.
Yeah.
Put together.
Can I make a comment? I just read the Stockholm University newsletter this morning, and there is a research group who is going to find out why humans are going into culture, like from animals to being a cultured evolutionary species. And they have got 22 million Swedish crowns for doing that. And I just mesmerized it. It was from the Wallenberg Foundation that they contributed to that project. So I don't know if other universities are studying this all over the world, but I just wanted to mention that.
I wanted to say, Lowell, and you don't see a link. I invited you, and it should pop up on your profile page or probably in the hangout chat. So come in when you see it.
Right. Well, I want to take opportunity of this quiet moment of half a second to go back to what Hans reminded me of in one way, how he came to read something, in solitary by himself, and then went on to other works of Wilber and devoured, volumes and volumes. And I think this is a kind of typical way that many of us do. Many of us have solitary and intellectual and head-oriented way of being, and Ken really fits, our idea of what an philosopher should be like. And a strange thing happens, though, after we get through devouring this ourselves, we feel quite lonely. Like, who can I tell this to? Who can I relate to? Who might understand something like this? And then we try to give a book to our friends, and they say, "Oh, a damn fat book, thank you." No, right? And so it's a wonderful thing to find out others who are sharing the same kind of worldview, the same sort of perspective. They're very individual people. We're not clones of one another, and we don't all respond to the same things in integral theory, but we have a perspective that we have gained from reading Wilber that allows us to reach out and relate to people in a way that we never thought really was all that possible before.
It sounds a little bit like a sect. Because we are doing this and we blah, 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 blah.
But we have no Kool-Aid, sorry. No. Okay.
I want to go back to what Hans said. It is when you begin to read the books, you are sort of, when it is for you, you are sort of drawn to read the next and to read the next and to read the next. And then you have the sort of an aha all together. But this is what I always thought, but I never found words for it. I noticed it in some way, that there was this, what you said, Hans, before. Why is it that and this, and how does it fit together? We don't. How can that be? And then you see it written, and you see, that's it. And I would really like to talk with you sooner or later about the refugees problem. And when we know these things, like the levels of development, we can probably handle it in quite a different way than when we just, have not this background knowledge and try to make it good because we want to make it good, but we just don't know how to do it, So I would love to talk with you in an extra talk about that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of an interest that we also have right now. Last week we had an interview that we broadcast on a hangout with two super experts on what's happening in the Middle East. And we got more information to do with. But nonetheless, with the handle of integral thought, and they're using a very similar in many ways approach called spiral dynamics. These intricate situations fall into place and make sense, and you feel not better because it's horrible, but you feel like you understand it, Yeah, and that's priceless. Yeah.
And I want to, as Laurel Ann doesn't seem to find the link, I put it in the event page, but it takes me a little moment. So you go ahead and talk.
Oh, I'm talking. Anything but
you
that
don't
time.
have. There are other people to talk to. So we can talk a little bit what integral theory is including, as we said, the 4 quadrants, for instance. What is that, the 4 quadrants?
Yeah.
Shall we put Hans on the examination table again?
What do you mean?
Well, shall we quiz him? Shall we test him? See
look at that! Yeah. No, it's not about testing.
No testing.
Okay. I'm a bit stage fright. I'm noticing stage fright. Not hear my own voice a lot.
Are you getting an echo?
Maybe no, he says stage fright.
Stage fright.
Oh, no problem. It's only us looking.
Okay, that's great.
Nobody else watches this stuff. It's just us here.
Maybe the way I could address this would be by referring to how 2 elements of the integral map, how I use them on an everyday basis, and also especially in my job as a social worker. I found it to be so super helpful to have the notion of quadrants especially and the levels of consciousness in my everyday work. Because a lot of the time I'm assessing somebody's need, what is the problem, how can I help them, etc. And normally it would be so easy to overlook important parts of the puzzle. But now with the integral map, I can, when I get stuck and I see somehow this doesn't work, I can kind of have this scanning device and I look, okay, maybe which quadrant am I missing, for example. In social work, social work is kind of the perfect field for integral, for applying the integral map, because social work basically, or social work these days in the Western world looks at the human being as a bio-psycho-social being. And already these 3 elements are basically the quadrants. The bio is the upper right quadrant, which looks at the human being as the body and the bodily functions and the brain and all that, and behavior. And then the psycho part is the upper left quadrant, the inside of the individual and their beliefs and values and hopes and dreams, aspirations, and all that. And the social part basically is the, well, let's say the lower quadrants. Um, so if I look at any client or a new encounter, I would, for example, look at, what about the health situation? Do they need some medication or food or whatever, for the bodily side of things? And yeah, and in conversation, I would try to get empathically, try to understand their inner view, what is going on inside of them, what are their dreams or worries and all that. I would look at how are they interwoven in relationships, do they have family structures, relationships. So I can look at the different quadrants and see, have a bigger picture, a more wholesome, holistic approach, and not run away with just one of my favorite, perceptions,
Mm-hmm.
So that's the quadrant side. And on levels, it's the same. I mean, on levels, there are many models that describe levels. I really like spiral dynamics. But in everyday social work, I found, for example, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is one of many models of development. And it's so helpful in social work. You need it every day, because if somebody hasn't covered the basic needs covered, like safety, shelter, food, then we don't need to talk about self-realization or what your big dreams are in life. So first you look at that level, and if that is fine, you go to the next. People have a need to be included and have social bonds and that. And so, yeah, I mean, that's just a much clearer and more holistic view of things, and you can be more precise and more easily spot what is needed in the moment.
I'm struck, Hans, by that. I want to go back a moment to what you said, quadrants, and how the lower quadrants were the social part, and you described the lower left quite well. And I said to myself, oh, but Hans is part of the lower right. He's part of the social infrastructure. The institutions that we have created, not necessarily the direct personal connection, but the institutional big picture. Yeah.
Yes, and of course I have to look how the individual relates to other infrastructures of society, other institutions and all that. So not only am I a part of that lower quadrant, but the lower right quadrant is much bigger than me and has a big impact on the individual.
Yes. Great. Like, how does he relate to the courts or the police?
Okay, we have now Lauren here. Lauren, want to contribute?
Oh, greetings. It was interesting to try to find the link, so I appreciate that you put it where you did.
You know what, Lauren? I'm trying to do Periscope, so I'm holding here the thing, and that's why posting the link was a little bit complicated.
Oh, multitasking. Shame on you.
She knows that I'm very male and linear, so she didn't ask me to do that.
No, I know that you are not a tech guy.
No.
Okay, to you.
Well, what I was wanted to say, how I got connected to Ken Wilber's work was through an Austrian man, Otto Lasky. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of him. Otto Lasky, and he gives courses on coaching from an integral perspective, although he didn't use that terminology. And I started studying what he did, and I was aware of Robert Keegan's work up to that point. And then as I tried to study Lasky's work, it was he's very academic. And I realized that I was not taking it in the way that I wanted to. So my thought process was, well, let's go and look at the theorists that Lasky is referring to. And of course, he referred to Ken Wilber. And so I found, I think it was A Brief History of Everything was the first book I read. And then I read The Theory of Everything after that, and I began to realize that once you see this, you can't not see it.
Right. Yeah.
And as I delved into it and thought about it more and more, I began to realize that if by seeing things from that perspective, I found I was able to help my coaching clients much better because I could see where they were, and I somehow seemed to have a better sense of what I could do to help them move out of where they were and into another area. And at the beginning, I wasn't thinking in terms of personal evolution. It was part of my own evolution, I guess. And I find myself now more interested in consciousness and personal evolution, etc. But I also have come to realize, just as Hans said, that as I look at the work that I do now, which is helping solo entrepreneurs with their business, I began to realize that those 4 quadrants were very applicable, and I've been working with seeing how important it is for anybody who's going into business to be looking at their business from that angle. So I think as we evolve ourselves, we begin to see and experience more and more depth of this work. Yeah.
Yeah, it is psychoactive. What Ken Wilber always say, and what you said, when you first go in and begin to understand what it is about, you cannot see the world anymore as it was before.
You cannot unsee it.
That's right.
You can. And I guess as I posted in the comments section, I've now begin to understand what's going on the world stage more readily. And I began to understand. We just had a national election here this week, and just looking at the various parties and the way they express themselves and how they, what they want, what their platforms are, and what's going on in the Middle East and all of that. Suddenly I feel a lot less fearful and at sea, because I kind of can understand how it all fits together. So the evolution carries on.
Absolutely. This helplessness, although we cannot do really from here a lot, but the helplessness and the overwhelm of things are happening and they will crash us down, this goes away, because you understand what I mean when we talk about the Middle East. These people have to go through these processes which our countries have gone through some 100 years ago. So the only hope is that we can help them to do it a little quicker and a little less
bloody.
Less bloody, yeah.
Yeah. What I also find is that the whole integral map is really a it's causing me a lot of optimism and positive, affirmative outlook on life, because so many things, if you just don't understand or know any of this, it just seems everybody has their Armageddon theory and everything always, the end of the world. And I mean, the more you understand the evolutionary dynamic of it, I begin to notice more and more how it is so much of an unfolding going on, and there's so much beauty in it. So even if it's ugly and at times and in places, but if you zoom out a bit out of it, and there's this beautiful unfolding happening. It's it's just sometimes overwhelming for me in a positive way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hans. It's like it's the whole. Sometimes we want evolution to go faster. I would love to see more change in the world, or I would love to see more integral consciousness, or more, wholeness, just even togetherness, even on the planet. The issues, like the big issues, really, like climate change, or just for that, for example, what are we to do? Just one country? It's really a whole world thing, where the way we use energy, the way we consume fossil fuels, these are all things that only the whole world can really address all together. And that's we get so it's easy to see it from multiple perspectives with the integral theory. You're able to see more sides of the coin, how people think from different levels of development, and how that plays out. And but what's nice, Hans, about what you're saying is that there's a respect for the natural unfolding of how things are going, and the more we get in tune with that, the latest Ken Wilber Loft streaming session that I watched was, besides watching the microphone of his ear, which was that was a lesson in states. That was a lesson in states of consciousness. But besides that, it was really about the whole argument that you are not going to win in an argument with someone. You're not going to win by argument. You're going to win, or winning, or influencing the world by being integral, by really being that. From your balls to your bones. So that's the way I look at it.
There's Josie James. She says it's very interesting, and she will listen to the replay. So great, Josie. Next time, if you jump in, as Lowell Ann did.
Yeah.
And
could I give you a little quote that I'm working on right now for something else, but it fits in with what we're saying. This is a quote from Lao Tzu, and it says, "Let things ripen and then fall. Force is not the way at all." And then there's a couple more lines added by a musician that I know. "Just let go and you will see the way to do is just to be."
Yeah.
That's nice.
Love it. Yeah.
Doesn't that that really fits what we're saying here. We have to see it and be and just let it fall.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm Enya type 4, no? And I see always yes, but. And I see the negative things. When you say these things, this is right. But that doesn't mean that we don't help to change the world, let's say.
No.
That we are just waiting and allow horrible things to happen. We have also the power to at least, how can I say, to make sure that the most horrible things don't happen.
We have to create the environment that the positive things can happen in.
Yeah, and we might also need to, like we had it as a German, we know that in the past, sometimes you should kill somebody for not making happen horrible deeds as people have done, no? I mean, it's only 70 years ago or something. I want to say sometimes we need to help evolution a little bit in this direction when we see that it goes out of how do you say, so much back into cruelties and things. So I want to say not just look at it, what happens, but we have to, for me, the moral imperative to at least try to influence this in the being way more than in the convincing way. But this is, for me, the big challenge of integral people to find a way to do that, Yeah.
Oh, but we thought that once we got to integral, we would know how to make everything happen because we knew so much. We understood it, and so we could make things happen in lovely kinds of ways. And then we have to give up that kind of postmodern idealism, and start looking at what will work, which includes all those other levels that are way down, much more fundamental, and yeah, it's difficult for a modern person to say seriously, or in public television anyway, we may have to kill somebody, That's not the way we want to look at the world anymore.
But I took example. I want to say we not just can watch everything and say, okay, it's like it goes, but sometimes there is a limit and letting it go, and there is a moment when we have to step up and express ourselves. I want to say to the watchers who are on Periscope, I think I'm out of battery and we will stop here soon, but you can always see the replay of what we are doing here on the Wisdom Factory in Google Plus page and YouTube channel. And don't forget bit.ly/1hour podcast, and you will get the talk by Ken Wilber. Okay, that's what I wanted to say, and it's down the battery. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Well, that was the Bitly experience. I mean, not the
Periscope.
Periscope experience. Yeah. Wow.
Oh, the first time, my arms.
Oh, here, let me help you.
I need some
You need integral massage.
Yeah.
You need an iPhone stand. There is a beautiful iPhone stands that you could get, and you can adjust it.
Yeah, Mark wanted to do one improvised. We saw it on YouTube, but we haven't had the, to put a thing like this, but it needs to be bigger. Make a hole and put it on a normal stand like we have. But we haven't bought it yet, this thing.
We are stymied because we have metric threads here in Italy, and all of the
Is it true?
cameras, have English or American threads, and so we need a nut. All we need is a nut with the right thread.
We haven't looked yet.
Mark, this is your job. This is your job to do the nuts and bolts,
Yeah.
Oh. Are we talking about pink jobs and blue jobs here? Really?
Oh yeah.
Turn out.
Yeah. I never heard it expressed as pink and blue jobs. Is that something new theory that you came up with?
Oh, that one's been around for a long, long time in my relationship and friends in my generation. Didn't you know that, for example, barbecuing is a blue job? Yay!
Right.
So what's the pink job, by the way?
Uniforms.
Everything else,
You are too hilarious.
We are truly integral. We have integrated laughter.
You have to include pink in the integral model.
And you model that so well.
We have included pink. There's there's also Lorenz pink.
Lorenz is wearing pink?
Yeah, it's a dark pink.
All right.
Hey, Lorenz, welcome.
Hello.
I think this is just completely disintegrated from this lofty discussion we were having.
We're just including. We're not transcending. We're including. That was nice, though. Yeah. Good talk. Good discussion.
Yeah, let's talk something, Lawrence. He hasn't heard anything of our talk, so you are free to say what you think about integral theory and how it helped you for whatever you do, you think, you live, whatever.
Okay, first thing I want to say is that there's nothing in integral theory that talks about laughter. How come?
My goodness.
Well, we just added it.
Yeah.
It's in there.
Remember that laughter is a higher evolutionary development. What other species laughs?
That's a good question.
Chimpanzees look like they're laughing times.
And then
also, have you seen laughing dolphins? I have seen laughing dolphins.
Well, now I think I'd have to allow that. Yeah, the dolphins do have a sense of humor, from what I've read. They know how to tease, and so that argues in favor of their being one of the more intelligent species. Certainly, it takes a superior human being to be funny. Have you noticed? Comedians are always, the ones who are funny, are highly intelligent people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
no, it comes to my mind. We should go through the levels of development and see where people laugh on what they laugh.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting exercise.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think it would.
Yeah.
And also comparing the healthy forms to the unhealthy forms.
Okay, so begin with Paige. When do you laugh? When you get some food?
I got it.
Yeah, it is.
Apple from the tree. Yeah. Okay.
It's the first joy response is being fed.
Yeah, that's very good. Very simple. Very basic.
Purple? When do you laugh in purple? When you do a good ritual?
I think when you know the ritual and somebody makes a mistake.
Oops, he dropped it. No, the arrow has to be pointed in the other direction.
But maybe
That's
it's
right.
not laughter then. That it might be very much they would shoot them, maybe, or punish them because you should know your rituals.
It may not be good for the person's status, but.
The purple, we could look to the Mayans with their human sacrifices at the top of the pyramids as a magical effort. There's not a lot of laughter going on there, I don't imagine.
No, that's not exactly laughter.
But maybe they were afterwards in the celebrations because they had done what they needed to do to get food for next year. So
and they all ate.
Can I pipe in here? I was there in Chichen Itza and other places, and then there was a guide who was Mayan heritage, and he says, here is the stone where they put the person on their back and then held them down, and then slit the chest open. I mean, I could feel how horrible it was. It was like, and the person who was laying there did not have fun, I'm sure.
No,
Probably
I don't
not.
think.
Yeah.
Who did have fun?
I don't think anybody had it. It just was programmed to actually deliver the sacrifice to the higher gods. Like, blah.
Yeah, there's
That's not the pink job.
Not a lot of evidence.
Afterwards will be a big dance, like, big celebration, because this was done. The most business was done.
Yeah. I had a different take on that. That because when a person was killed in the sacrifice, the community lost that person. And I think that these sacrifices were a way of keeping the culture from getting complacent. So everybody felt the loss keenly. It was not something that they were celebrating afterwards. They were sobered by it, and their attention was unified by that event for the sake of whatever magical rituals they would undertake. So the sacrifice was a way of unifying attention and intention within the culture and making everybody feel the transitoriness, the precariousness of life.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think the sacrifices did.
It can be.
I don't think they're like a football game where the guy throws the football into the ground and dances around. I think it's a little different kind of ritual.
Yeah, but when would you laugh? I mean.
Good question. As I suggested that laughter is a higher evolutionary development, and it may be that, oh God, let's see, in red, the guy who laughs is the guy who triumphed in a fight.
Sure.
This is easy. This is easy.
But consider the quality of that laughter, though.
Yeah.
And then when you get onto, say, the amber or blue level, I don't know, is there anything in recorded history about Jesus laughing?
Oh, he probably had a good time at the the marriage in Cana or whatever.
At the Last Supper, he probably laughed.
Do you really think so?
I don't know.
I don't know. I wonder about it, because I don't recall ever hearing about Jesus laughing. You would think that an enlightened being would be laughing a lot. But they recorded all this sober stuff. God knows what they left out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, what about when he parted the water, or when he multiplied the fishes and the loaves? Maybe you might have been happy about those.
I should think so.
But did he chuckle?
You don't know.
He might have.
He had good chortle about it.
He might have. He might have watched the expression on everybody's face when he multiplied the loaves and the fishes, where they only gave them the look on their face as their mouths dropped open. He might have had a good laugh at Jesus.
Yeah. He might have said, "Yay, it worked!"
Lawrence, you are so funny here.
Take for instance, Lawrence. So, no, more the American people. What is George Bush laughing about?
Oh, God.
Yeah, as we said, there are different kinds of laughter.
Yeah.
But the laughter of delight, I imagine that would be pretty full spectrum, the laughter of delight. But the laughter of irony or the laughter of the unexpected, I think that's got to be very specific to the stage. Mm-hmm. So children will laugh when they see somebody fall down.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's a pretty early stage of development. That's got to be somewhere around red.
Yeah.
Right?
Red. Mm-hmm. I'd say.
Yeah, the typical slipping on the banana peel.
Yeah.
Three Stooges.
Slapstick humor.
Yeah.
Red.
Oh, well, since you bring up the Three Stooges, I'll bring up the Marx Brothers.
Also one of the greats.
But they didn't do pratfall humor. The Three Stooges did pratfall humor. The Marx Brothers did social humor.
Mm-hmm.
They made fun of the social seriousnesses of the time, and that's how they got the laughter. So they were blue level.
Mm-hmm.
Then let's see, who would be orange level? Orange is about world-centric and accomplishments rather than conformity.
Success. When I've read success and a lot of money, maybe I would laugh. I don't know.
I don't know. Someone who might poke fun at those goals in life.
Yes.
Charlie Chaplin, for example.
Yeah, Charlie Chaplin. Or George Carlin.
George Carlin, definitely. That's kind of that's mean edge on Carlin's laughter, though.
Yeah, wow. Fierce. You notice that his meanness was never to the downtrodden. It was always meanness against hypocrisy and the power structure. Very like Mark Twain, actually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I talked to George Carlin's daughter. He got the Mark Twain, it was a Mark Twain Award for humor.
Oh, wonderful.
He got it posthumously, is what I understood. But it's the same kind of a thing. Mark Twain took on the social mores and made them a laughing stock, and he took on the aggressive, success-driven mentality, and he made fun of that too. All the things that were people so righteous about. So now what is green laughter? Now I have to say right at the beginning, I think that green laughter is probably a contradiction in terms.
Oh, we are so advanced.
Yeah, I don't think you really get laughter until you hit second tier. That's where you really get a broadening. Because then you can laugh at all the different levels.
Very informative here, you know.
Yeah, at second tier we can laugh at everybody.
And
including ourselves.
Yeah.
Especially on ourselves.
I hope so. Yeah.
One thing comes to mind. I think, did any of you watch that Borat movie?
Oh yeah, Borat. Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah.
There was an integral analysis of the movie, I think some years back, somewhere in Integral Live, or I don't know where I read it, and that was really funny, interesting. And it actually said that the movie was much, much more intelligent than most people would assume, and that actually what Borat did in the movie often is he would start making a joke where still, you know, the jokes were directed actually to the different levels of consciousness. I mean, he might or might not have been aware of that, but that you could even in the cinema audience notice when he moved up with the jokes that less and less people would laugh, or there's the stuff where a green cannot laugh about it. You know? And there is the stuff where you cannot laugh about if you are an ethnocentric, nationally pride American. You could not laugh about that, and so it's really interesting. I mean, everybody has a laughing taboo as well, like things that you make jokes about. And I noticed sometimes that at some points, me and my friend, we were the only people laughing in the cinema. And after I read this analysis, I was like, okay, that was a compliment. Yeah,
I think green would avoid laughing so as not to hurt someone's feelings.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a big rule for green. Yeah.
Postmodern.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that comedian. I'd kind of forgotten about him, and I remember at the time at what point I said, "Oh no, that's going too far." You know.
Oh.
It was a long time ago, of course.
Okay.
He has developed a little bit in the meantime.
Yeah.
You know, he did his best to step up the ladder. Fortunately, we are doing the olive harvest now. We don't have to step up any ladders. We have cut down the trees, so they come to us.
Oh.
Yeah.
Speaking of a long time ago, you know who was an orange comedian? It was Jackie Gleason.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, that's good. And I understand why my father loved him so much. I did too at the time. It was shared the same values. Yeah.
I don't know him. We have to watch that film, Hans said. And in our program, we have a to-do list what we need to watch and listen to. So we will put that into. I get here a little bit of teaching in American culture with Marco, because these names I don't know them. I mean, I know Charlie Chaplin, but the other guy, no, I didn't.
It's interesting that you mention American culture, because I think humor is not only about levels of consciousness; it has also to do with types. I mean, if you only look at how different cultures have very different kind of humors. I mean, the British humor, for example, is very known to be distinct humor, and that Germans normally wouldn't laugh as much about it. People had, of course, a laugh about everything, but no. No, but so I think there is all the different types, maybe personality types or cultural types also find different things funny. So there's more on just the level aspect to it, I think.
Yeah, so like Italian, from what I've seen, is very cultural humor. Laughing at people's ways.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. Can we? We're too
I'm
close to
thinking
that to
about,
say.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
I don't see very much people laugh.
They, they laugh when somebody does something that isn't an accepted way of being. You know, where they dress them properly,
Yeah,
for
that's
example.
it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So you see, integral theory can be very funny. And we talk about the levels of laughter, or how laughter looks like, and the different levels. And we can do that with everything. And that's also a reason why we created the community and why we created these talks to really bring it down to earth and not only talk in theoretical terms,
Right.
but check it out. What does certain things? What do they mean in the different levels? And we know them, or we know other people being there, and it's getting deeper into the how can I say, in the understanding. And we invite the people who are watching that to do that with us. And when you have read a book and it has inspired you, come and talk with us about it, because we are now at the end of our session. And I thank Hans and Lawrence and Lol Ann and Scott, and before Margarita to be with us here. And I hope you will come back. And please don't forget the bit.ly link, 1 hour broadcast. And then there are other 2 events to say. There is a course which Margarita and Scott are giving. Can they still subscribe for it, Scott, for this?
They can. They can. I don't have the link for it, but I can find it and put it up in the thing after. And we're doing an instant.
And you can put it in the community also, and also Lawrence, for the programs you have. We should put it in the community again. And I don't know, Hans, I would like to talk with you if you are available, even before next Friday, on Blab this time, because this might be very interesting to many people about the refugees. Hans is working with refugees in Germany, so it's right there.
That's awesome.
So I would be very, very interested in talking with you how it works out and how your ideas are, and seeing it from an integral perspective is, really a great thing to do. And probably on Sunday, Monday, when you are available, and people stay tuned with us, we will post it in the community, and then on Blab. Subscribe to me, Adelheid Hörnlein, on Blab. Twitter is Traviata56, my Twitter name, and then you will be able to join us and say what you would like to say to this refugee problem, especially if you live in Europe and have it really in front of your entrance door.
Yeah, just one thing.
Or if you're in America.
Just one thing. I will actually... Tonight, I'm actually going on a holiday. I'm going on a 3-week vacation to Barcelona in Spain, to my home. So I don't even know yet if I have internet down there.
Oh, okay.
But we will be in contact and talk about it. Yes.
Yeah. Tell me when you are ready to do that. It would be really, really, really nice. And even when you are in holiday, so you have a little bit of a distance and a way to see it in a different way, instead of every evening coming home with I don't know what. Okay, this is great. And see you next week. Whoever is watching, coming in.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.